It may seem crazy, but it's better to save a cushion before you start saving for your down payment on a house.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.
Hello, I'm Yetta Decker.
And I'm Ken Decker.
And we're excited to be with you and welcome you to another episode of Life's Inside Track, where we share techniques, thoughts, tools, and even some tips so we can live the best life possible, make our house home, and make really great financial decisions.
Yeah, sometimes you need to do something different to get a different result. You know, one of the sayings around insanity?
Keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. I've been there. I've done that
That's
more
a
than
definition
once.
of insanity.
There it is.
Yeah.
I know.
And as a boy, I are one. And I remember like you would try to do a jump on your bicycle and you would fall and scrape yourself up and you go, oh, that must have just been bad luck. So you'd try the same jump again.
How did that work out?
You'd fall and scrape the same place usually.
So what you're going to learn in this episode is how do you maybe do something that feels counterintuitive, like saving a cushion before you even save for your down payment on a house if you've never bought a house, or even before you buy an investment property if you already own your house and you've already had that step. So it sounds counterintuitive. Like, why do I want money sitting in the bank? I'm not getting anything but maybe 0.25% of interest, and probably I'm getting nothing on the money sitting there. So why on earth would I want money sitting in the bank when I really want to buy my first investment property or my first house? Like, it seems dumb, Ken Decker.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
And yet it's pivotal. It's pivotal.
You're getting pretty worked up about this one, aren't you?
I am. I'm passionate about it because you need to change your thought pattern, and this piece will protect you from pain and heartache in the future.
Okay, say more. You even have me slightly intrigued.
That's impressive.
I know, right?
So, how many clients, Yetta, have we served who needed to sell a house because they didn't have the cushion to do the maintenance, to do the repairs? They didn't calculate that in, or the financial stress of it all was getting to them. And so it wasn't worth living in their dream home anymore because the financial stress was overriding that. How many times have we had to do that in our 30-some years? I
don't want to count, but I know I couldn't count it on a couple of hands.
Okay.
And I couldn't count it on a couple of hands and a couple of sets of toes. So there's been many times we've unfortunately met somebody, and most of the time not people we actually helped buy the house, because we're having pretty stringent conversation. I'm going to call them stringent, provocative, poignant conversations before we go into it to make sure that the decision you make is one you can sustain. There's no
sustainability is key.
It's huge. Right. And cushion helps with sustainability. So a cushion is gear one in the book, in the Wealth Formula book. So the first gear is to make sure you have a cushion. And that could be 3,000, could be 5,000, could be 10,000. You have to decide for yourself what's that amount of money that will create not a money emergency when the car breaks down. That won't create a money emergency when the shingles need to be replaced because you've been accumulating that.
Right. So on a to that point, Yetta, if you're renting, you don't need as big of a cushion right now, because if something goes wrong with the house, your landlord needs the cushion. Right. They pay to have it repaired or change the shingles.
Right. And yet you still have car payments. You still may own your own appliances.
It's just
you
not
may
as big.
Still. Right.
So the issue becomes people will either have no cushion or they have a very small cushion. And then when you go to buy a house, you don't realize you need a bigger cushion because suddenly you may get bigger expenses. What if the pipe for the sewer going out to the road breaks? or you know,
Or the furnace
The
dies
furnace
prematurely,
dies.
or the water softener. Maybe you could live without a water softener for a while if you're in the country, but then maybe the dishwasher goes sooner because it's filled up with gunk, and the washing machine goes and the dryer goes. And so,
probably not the dryer.
well, it depends on how much moisture is coming through there.
But
Anyway,
I think
the
your dryer
point
could
is-
go,
yeah,
irrespective of whether your water
Water
softener is
softener
gone.
goes. But
Yeah.
the point is, the more tangible items you have in your life that you're responsible for,
Yeah,
and the more dependence you have so that things could go wrong with them.
like braces and things of that nature, eyewear that they need, or whatever.
That you weren't counting on.
And dogs, people don't realize
Oh.
it. Pets, dogs,
Free
cats.
pets?
So many times people go, "Oh, I had to put that money on my credit card because I needed to go to the vet, and it was $1,000 or whatever." Well, if you have a pet, you need a bigger cushion because you're responsible for their well-being.
Right. So cushion is counterintuitive and yet pivotal, as Mr.
Yes. And the
Decker
second reason
says.
it's pivotal is it because it gets you out of the habit of spending credit for emergencies, which really they're emergencies, but you knew they were going to happen eventually. You knew the car going to need brakes. It's going to need tires. Eventually the shingles are going to wear out. You knew that these emergencies could have been planned for.
Right.
And if you rely on credit, now you got two problems. Because first of all, you don't have the cash to do the repair. And second of all, now you're going to pay almost twice as much because you're going to put it on a credit card that's got 18% interest on it. And you're going to take years to pay it off, probably.
Maybe get a line of credit that's
Yeah.
at a lower interest rate.
You're still paying interest. It's still costing you more than it would have if you had the cash sitting there for it.
Right. So now you're sounding a little holier than thou right now. So I'm going to burst your bubble slightly.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever had any of these experiences?
Oh, absolutely. That's how I learned it.
Okay.
I've been there. I did that. I was that. I felt the discomfort.
and you didn't learn the first
I
time.
haven't lost a home over it,
No.
but could have.
Yeah, we could have.
We could have.
And I'm pointing
We got-
fingers
we
at
got-
you, but I was as guilty. I mean,
You and I
don't-
have been this together
Yeah, we
forever,
have.
honey.
Forever?
Well, pretty much. For more than 2 times my life, we've done it together. Like two-thirds, more than 2/3, not 2 times. More than 2/3 of our
That'd
life,
be
we've done
interesting.
it together. Yeah.
Now, cars and things, sometimes people think that those are essential. And I think if it's totally broken and you can't get to work, yeah, you need a car, but how expensive a car do you need? And then the conversation becomes, well, if I buy not a new car, then the repairs are going to be higher because it doesn't have a warranty. And so there's
We've
a lot
heard
of
all the
factors.
rationale
I
around
know.
that.
So there's a lot of factors to consider, but the bottom line is if you have an emergency account set up called a cushion,
Mhm.
then at least you have the ability to pay for the thing when the thing goes wrong,
Absolutely.
unless you planned for it.
And you know what the cool thing about a cushion is?
What?
Have you ever sat on a couch and put a cushion on your lap and kind of wrapped your hands around it? And it kind of gives you a comfort and a warmth and a peace. And
Yeah.
that's what your financial cushion does for your mindset. It gives you peace and relaxation and security. And that's huge.
Right. So we are grateful to be your partners on the journey of life, wisdom, and real estate.
Moving forward with the Decker team.